Thank you for tuning in. Our next presenter is Andrew Duncan, CEO of Boardwalktech. Mr. Duncan, you may begin.
Thanks very much, and welcome everybody. Today is January 7th, and I'm very happy to be at the SNN conference talking to you about Boardwalktech. We'll get through kind of the forward-looking statement here and move on to slide about Boardwalk. So Boardwalk is headquartered in Cupertino, California, the heart of Silicon Valley. We are an enterprise software company. We have developed a patented digital ledger platform that we sell to large customers. Today we've got, I think it's 22 or 23 of the Fortune 500 as customers. Our digital ledger is a very unique technology that allows us to be able to quickly and rapidly set up applications for large enterprises, mainly focusing on areas where it basically has been left undone, if you will. So think of these large organizations that have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on SAP and Oracle, yet all of the work is still getting done in Microsoft Excel. And that is exactly the area where we focus. We help those companies take those Excel spreadsheets and turn them into enterprise applications utilizing our digital ledger platform. We look at ourselves as the new Bloomberg for enterprise information data, where all of this data is coming in and no one has a place to be able to organize it or manage it or be able to search it. Our model is a software as a service model. We charge an annual recurring fee to utilize the platform. Most of the services that we provide are hosted. Our 67% of our revenue are from multi-year annual recurring license agreements with large organizations. Our pipeline continues to grow. We're now up to about $8 million of new pipeline. And certainly over the past couple of quarters, we've seen some significant financial improvement in the business. We are running at a very nice gross margin business at 85% plus, and we continue to see improvement on our net income. So what is a digital ledger? So a digital ledger is basically a new type of database. It manages information in a unique way. In a traditional database, you would manage data either at the at the row or column level. Our database, our digital ledger database, manages data at the cell level. This is unique, this is patented, and it allows us to be able to solve a lot of problems in the enterprise and help these companies automate a lot of the manual things that they do, specifically using Microsoft Excel. Through our digital ledger platform, it allows people to work on the same data at the same time. You can see all of the changes that are occurring on the digital ledger. It is what we call a single version of the truth, and you've got complete audit trail and accountability, which allows a company to be able to more rapidly make decisions and react to what's going on, plan for what's going on, which allows them to be able to, again, make faster decisions and improve their business. So this is an example of kind of what goes on every day in, the corporate world. Again, these companies have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on core systems of record that run traditionally in SAP, Oracle, Salesforce.com, but yet most businesses are still run on Microsoft Excel. And the reason that you have these Excel spreadsheets is that you have the enterprise information worker, the employee, that doesn't really have a place that they can grab this data and align the data and make sense of the data. So the tool that they really have to use is Microsoft Excel. So what happens is that you pull data from different systems of record, you cut and paste it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then what happens is you start writing formulas against that Excel spreadsheet, and then you start emailing the spreadsheet around to think, is this going to work? Can I get your opinion about this? And before you know it, you've got 100 people all trying to share this very messy spreadsheet, and no one knows what version you're on, no one knows who made changes. It really isn't a good way to do business. What the Boardwalk Digital Ledger does is we automate all of these manual spreadsheet processes that are sitting in the enterprise. We think of it as the last mile of enterprise information and enterprise information management, where companies really need our digital ledger platform that sits next to the SAP and the Oracles and the Salesforce.coms. And what it allows us to be able to do in a no-code environment is pull these spreadsheets into the digital ledger, set up access control, and then as people in the field are managing the information, they literally are working in traditional Excel. There's no change to Excel. But instead of emailing the spreadsheets around, they're connecting into the server. And when they're done making their changes, they hit submit refresh, which then sends the information into the digital ledger, which is the single version of truth. Think of it as the master spreadsheet. And then you can see all of the changes that everyone has made. So you literally can click on a cell in a 100-person shared spreadsheet and see who made the last change, the date and time, and any comments against it. And not only can you see the last change, but you can see every single change ever made to that spreadsheet all the way down to the cell of data. This is very, very important. And the reason that it's important is that people need to be able to collaborate. They need to be able to share this information. With the current environment that we're in with the global pandemic, we have so many people that are working remotely, and sharing the information that's in these critical spreadsheet processes is very difficult. So Boardwalk helps companies to automate that. We really support the remote users so that you can continue to exchange data more easily. We also create a lot of efficiency by automating these processes. We create agility. We can scale to basically any size of number of users or size of data. And the speed by which you can automatically reconcile and automate the movement of this information is very valuable. And then the last thing is an insight tool. What's the most important thing in an enterprise? The most important thing is data. The most important thing is being able to ask a question and get an answer so that you can make a decision. What's an example of that? Well, let's say you have an influencer that you've paid money to promote your product, and all of a sudden the influencer is inundated and has got 200,000 views on a particular product. Well, if you knew that, and you knew that faster than waiting for 3 or 4 days to aggregate all of the data to be able to say, oh, we've got a lot of views on this particular product with this particular influencer. If you knew that right away, you could increase your production and basically be able to meet demand. And when you do that, you actually drive higher revenue, better margins, and it's all about, do I know what's going on in my enterprise? Can I see that data? Can I ask a question? Can I make a decision faster? So when you think about data in the enterprise, about 80% of all of the data that's coming at kind of an employee is unstructured. Microsoft Excel is considered an unstructured piece of data. But think of all of the emails that are coming in, the attached PDF documents, the purchase orders, all of the unstructured data that's coming in. And these information workers have no way of being able to understand what's really going on with their data. And the Boardwalk Digital Ledger platform allows you to be able to automate, manage, and query that information so that you can get answers to your information questions and make rapid decisions. So again, this next slide talks about types of unstructured data. This unstructured data is so costly. I can't tell you how many times people tell me, Andy, I've got this data lake. I've got this environment where we store all of our data, but I don't have an easy way to get the data in. Once the data gets into the data storage environment, I don't have an easy way to manage it. And then the last thing is once it's in the environment, I don't have a way of being able to get the data out. And these are the types of problems that the Boardwalk Digital Ledger solves for people. We give you the ability to quickly access your data, to quickly get information that you need so that you can make decisions. And of course, it's very costly when you have people that say, it took me 20 minutes to find this data, or you get into a meeting and people are literally arguing about, well, I got my data from Oracle, well, I got my data from SAP or from Salesforce.com or from our inventory management system. And instead of focusing on the problem of how are we going to make a decision, they're focusing on whose data is right. And utilizing the Boardwalk Digital Ledger, we solve that problem for them. We actually allow them to have this single version of the truth where they can pull structured data in from applications like Oracle, SAP, Salesforce, and IBM, marry that with their unstructured data that might be coming in as an Excel spreadsheet, a PDF file, a Word document. It could even be coming in as a tweet. That's an unstructured piece of data. And through the Boardwalk Digital Ledger, we allow that information worker to search, organize, and manage all of the structured and unstructured data. And we do that through this no-code platform where you don't need to convert all of this data to SQL. So it's effectively the everyman's data environment where you don't need to know code, you don't need to know anything like that. You simply can get the data into the Boardwalk Digital Ledger very simply and then start to manage it. And you can manage that data either through an Excel UI, a browser UI, or even a mobile UI. So to give you an example of why this is important, we have a customer today that's in the food manufacturing business. They buy $800 million worth of wheat per year. They have 26 major vendors that they communicate with. You know how they used to communicate with these vendors? Emailing Microsoft Excel spreadsheets to all 26 vendors multiple times a day saying, I need this amount of wheat, I need to know what the water content is of the wheat, I need to know the cost, I need to know if you can meet the demand, and then someone is sitting in the back office trying to reconcile all of these spreadsheets that are coming in by email from these 26 different vendors, and it normally takes them a day or two just to make a decision on who's going to get the order and what price they're going to pay. When Boardwalk came in, we automated that entire process for them. We allowed the vendors to be able to have a simple Excel spreadsheet that connected from their desktop into the digital ledger so that they could rapidly communicate with the purchasing people in this food manufacturing company so that instead of email, everything was working through the digital ledger on a submit refresh basis with a complete historical record of how everybody submitted their data, and so that you had an audit trail to be able to go back and say, I see what you quoted, today at 9 a.m. I will offer, 50 cents a bushel. And then they respond back, say, I'll take 52 cents a bushel. And now you've got this complete automated record of the exchange back and forth so that there's no question about who committed to what. It also is fully automated so that you're aggregating the data. What this customer has told us is that this has saved them about 2%. And the reason that it saved them 2% on $800 million worth of wheat spend per year is because they were able to more rapidly make decisions because of the automated way in which they were now connected with a full audit trail so that there was no question what the commitment was. So if you look at the value of what we provide, this last mile, these literally thousands of spreadsheets in an organization that are running mission critical processes and mission critical decisions that are being made out of these spreadsheet processes, our digital ledger is being adopted by enterprises because It helps them to manage all of this, both structured and unstructured data. And through better management of that information, better collaboration, not only are we seeing customers increase their revenue and increase their ROI, we're seeing improved customer satisfaction. We're getting these spreadsheets into compliance so that you've got full auditability about what's going on. We're providing the ability for everyone to have visibility into the data so that they can make real-time decisions about what's happening. We're actually this central controlled management of all unstructured and structured data, and we're allowing for rapid collaboration and alignment. This is an example of some of our customers today. We're very proud of these customers. As an example, Ernst & Young uses us in their tax technology business. Mars uses us in their supply chain. Apple Computer is a customer that uses us as well. We're cross-industry and very focused on specific areas where there's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of inventory, there's a lot of need to be able to more rapidly make decisions and exchange data. Different areas that companies use us today are in, financial planning and analysis, supply chain management, deal price management. It varies, and think of 1,000 mission-critical spreadsheets in any organization, and you can imagine what those spreadsheets are used for. They're used for a lot. Different ROIs. This is an apparel client that is a great customer of ours. We developed 5 different applications on the platform for them. These particular 5 applications, first year, 5x ROI and a $1.3 million savings, all because we automated and they can make decisions faster. The next ROI is for a great customer of ours, onsemi. They're a semiconductor company based in Arizona. They had a process where they were doing RFQs. They were getting about 25 a day in, and it was taking them on average 7 days to respond. Because, of course, these RFPs and RFQs were either coming in spreadsheet format or being dumped into a spreadsheet and then emailed around so that people could make decisions about the pricing of the various components and can we meet the demand and what does our manufacturing line timing look like and so forth and so on. With automating this on the Boardwalk system, we were able to reduce their average response time from 7 days down to 2 to 3 days. This created a 60% manpower efficiency, increased their sales conversion by 15 to 20% with a $1.8 million first-year savings and a 6x ROI. And the cool thing about this is that the ancillary value of being able to respond to an RFP, RFQ faster gives you more and higher likelihood of actually winning the deal. And this is critical. So the overall value of Boardwalk is we have this platform. We focus the platform on a land and expand strategy. Our financial highlights, we've got $3.7 million of ARR. We continue to see a really great improvement with regard to our EBITDA. 67% of our revenue from our net model that we introduced in late 2018. We've got a current pipeline of $8 million, and we're running at a terrific gross margin of 85%. It is really quite a business. So again, if you take a look at kind of our overall strategy, it is land and expand. We get in, and a customer looks at us and goes, wow, you've solved that first problem for us. Can you solve the problem over here and over here and over here? Because we've got spreadsheets and we're making decisions off of this data and this unstructured data all over the place, and we have no method of being able to control or collaborate or secure any of this data. So we get in, we charge an annual recurring fee, and then for each application that we build on top of the platform that takes anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks to build out, we're getting recurring annual revenue fees from being able to do that. Our management team is extremely, so this is our slide on our capital structure. You will see that, we've got about 42% of management insider and ownership. We're again based in California with an operation in Mumbai, India. So our continued strategy is this is our executive team. Again, been together for quite some time. All of us have done major companies before. Boardwalk happens to be my 5th company, of which I've had 3 nice exits, and one didn't work out so well, but you learn a heck of a lot from the one that didn't work out. But we are all seasoned executives that have been in Silicon Valley and have done this before. Focus is from an investment opportunity highlight. We have a unique, patented, sustainable, and competitive platform solution. Every single enterprise out there has got a need for the Boardwalk platform. Everyone manages data in spreadsheets. Everybody has got a risk with regard to these spreadsheets. And we really feel that automating these spreadsheets is the last mile of transformation in the enterprise. Our solution is very sticky. We have a high, not only rate of customer satisfaction. We also have a growing recurring revenue, a growing pipeline, high margins, and significant operational leverage. The net is that information can be of great value, but only if you can get your arms around it. The Boardwalk platform allows companies to make sense of their data, and we do it simply, quickly, and easily. So the next thing now is I know that we've got a bunch of questions that have come in, and I've got one of my colleagues, Corey, that I think is going to help us with regard to the questions. Corey, maybe it's time for us to go through the questions.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Andy. So our first question asks, what are 1 or 2 things that investors should be looking forward to in 2021?
So that's a great question. Boardwalk has a number of really terrific new customers that we're going to be onboarding this year, several of them that are at final contract stage. And in fact, we are going to be entering into the financial services market with a terrific opportunity with a large bank that we believe is going to create a cornerstone, if you will, for us to be able to enter into the financial services industry. So keep your fingers crossed, Corey, that this deal is going to continue to move forward positively, which it currently is.
Great, thank you. Our next question asks, who are some of your direct and indirect competitors?
So when you take a look at these companies today, and maybe this big bank that we're having conversations with is a great example, they have 40,000 spreadsheets, Corey, that today are uncontrolled and unsecured. And if you take a look at how are they ever going to get these 40,000 spreadsheets into a compliant environment, and there's really only a couple of ways that they can do it. We believe that Boardwalk, with our single schema, no-code platform, where we can automatically suck in those Excel spreadsheets into our database and effectively create a compliant application immediately where access from Excel is onto the server, and then the server manages the security and there's no data left behind on the desktop. That is the best way to solve the problem. But from a competitive standpoint, if someone were to go and say, how else can I solve this problem? The only other way for them to solve the problem is to effectively rewrite that existing spreadsheet application over into a traditional database environment. And so while you hear a lot of people saying, oh, we have low code and no code and automatic conversion, the bottom line is that you still need to create a data model. You still need to rewrite all of those formulas into code on the back end, and you still need to build a front end, and you still need to then retrain your users how to use a web browser front-end application versus what they know and love, which is Excel. So normally, if you were to take an Excel spreadsheet type of application that may be used by 50 users in a big bank like this, and try and convert that over to a web form front-end database application in the cloud on the back end, that can take anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Well, if you multiply that times 40,000, it's almost impossible. So the bottom line, Corey, is that we really don't see any competition that is viable in the space of a no-code, low-code automatic conversion of spreadsheets into a fully compliant cloud-based data structure.
Great, thanks, Andy. Our next question asks, how penetrated are you in existing clients that you have? So obviously the technology itself is integral to what they're doing, but how much runway do you have in terms of adding new applications and creating new revenue opportunities within existing clients alone?
Excellent question. So as I stated earlier, we have a land and expand strategy. We greatly cherish every single customer that we have today. And the reason that we do is not only do we know that we're providing them great value, helping them increase sales and increase margin and provide better decision making in their business, but the bottom line is that every organization literally has hundreds, sometimes thousands of these spreadsheet processes. And so once we get into a company and they go, wow, I didn't know this was possible. You guys were able to take this spreadsheet process that I used to manually share by email with 50 people, 50 of my colleagues, and you've now created a central version of the truth on a database that now I can see all of the changes that are happening and automatically aggregate the data. You now solve my problem over here. Now I want you to go and solve the problem over here and over here and over here, and we just land and expand. So the bottom line is that our opportunity in every single one of these companies is effectively a greenfield, and we believe that there's no less than 20 or 30 new applications that we could build at any time for any of these large customers that we have. So we've got people that are very focused on account management and expanding the relationship that we have within each one of these clients.
Great. Thanks, Andy. It seems that's all the time that we have for questions today. We'll be sure to follow up with everybody who wasn't able to get answered. So on that note, I'll hand it to you for closing remarks, and then if you could pass it back to the moderator to close things up, that would be great.
Great. Well, Corey, thank you very much for the great questions. Honored to be at the SNN conference. Contact information for both myself and our CFO, Charlie Glavin, is on the slides, and we would be very happy to have a conversation with any of you if you'd like any more information with regard to Boardwalk Tech. Thank you very much for attending the session.
And that does conclude today's webcast. Thank you, and have a great day.